We've all been there. The washing machine is beyond repair. And all you want to know is which new model you should buy. Well, that's where the Which Just Buy This recommendations come in. Hand-picked recommendations that our product testing experts think you should buy. We've got over 50 products with a Just Buy This recommendation, from dishwashers to TVs, cordless vacuums to fitness trackers. And yes, it can be useful to spend time reading our in-depth reviews, but when you need a quick fix, a Just Buy This recommendation can save the day. To find out which products have our new seal of approval, just head to which.co.uk/justbuythis. That's which.co.uk/justbuythis. And get it right with Which.
Fake products at cheap prices cause more harm than good. Look beyond the price tag and you could see a dangerous world. Hello, it's James Rowe here with this week's episode of Which Shorts, the podcast that gives you a free insight into one of our magazines every single Wednesday. Now today, I'm bringing you a piece that Ellie Simmons wrote for the October issue of Which magazine that looked at the murky world of counterfeit products. Whether you end up buying fake goods knowingly or unknowingly, you could be bringing a dangerous item into your home whilst also funding a world of criminal activity. So how bad is it, and how can you ensure you're buying safe, genuine goods? Well, here's Ellie's piece, adapted for the podcast, this week read by Kat Chireda.
Not long ago, counterfeit products were usually comical-looking knockoffs that no one would fall for. But now there's a new threat in town, the high-end fake. These new counterfeits are shiny, polished, and very plausible. At first glance, many are indistinguishable from the real thing. Our investigation found dangerous components, including dupes with fake fuses, which make them a major fire risk. So, how did we end up here? Well, we bought 8 products we suspected might be fake from third-party sellers on a range of popular online marketplaces: Amazon Marketplace, eBay, Temu, and Vinted. These included a Dyson hairdryer, GHD hair straighteners, Apple AirPods, an England football shirt, Ugg boots, and a Disney Stitch toy. All items that are made by brands known to be targeted by counterfeiters. At first glance, almost all the products looked identical to the genuine ones. We examined what they looked like and how they felt, weighed, and handled. Often the differences were barely noticeable, but once we spotted them, they were hard to overlook. Take the football shirt, for example. The messy stitching was a giveaway, the label was different too, and the tag didn't have a hologram. The clue for the Dyson hairdryer was a clumsy typo in some tiny words on the casing. The word water was spelt with 2 R's. The AirPods looked virtually identical, but were given away by their weight, almost half what they should have been. And GHD straighteners were half a centimetre longer than a legit pair. The Ugg boots had different stitching, a thinner sole, and what felt like cheaper lining. And the Disney toy lacked the vivid colours of the original. It was much smaller and didn't have the famous logo. But it's not just the looks that are the problem. We sent the electricals to be inspected by experts at campaigning charity Electrical Safety First, and what they found was shocking. Both the hairdryer and the hair straighteners had fake fuses, a major fire risk. The pins on the hairdryer plug were too short to meet the British standard, and the straighteners had a much older type of circuit board. Giuseppe Campana, who works for Electrical Safety First, told us that people don't understand the dangers of buying counterfeit electrical products. They look the same and they still seem to do the same job. But the reality is that genuine products cost more because they use higher quality components. They are tested. Counterfeit sellers are putting a lot of people's lives at risk. And the problems are likely to extend even further. Fake toys are often made with weak seams, easily accessible button batteries, and breakable parts. And that's before you think about the dangerous dyes, banned chemicals, and flammable materials that can be used. So if you buy a fake, knowingly or not, where does your money go? Well, counterfeits are often linked to other types of crime, including child labour, fraud, prostitution, modern-day slavery, illegal drugs, trafficking, and terrorism. Often, illegal drugs and weapons will be transported alongside the counterfeits on the same illicit trade routes. For example, when police in Manchester seized 30,000 fake football shirts in 2022, they found among those working in the shops selling them were children who had gone missing from asylum seeker hotels in England. Often, the working conditions of the people making the fakes are horrifying. In 2020, authorities in Spain uncovered a counterfeit cigarette factory in an underground bunker, with people forced to work in dangerous conditions and not allowed to leave on their own. Phil Lewis is the Director General at Anti-Counterfeiting Group. They told us many people are unaware that by buying a fake, they're potentially helping to fund the activities of international criminals that threaten our families, our national security, economies, and jobs. Counterfeiting is not a victimless crime. If you buy fakes, are you committing a crime? Well, you'd likely fall into one of two camps. Either you buy in the full knowledge that what you're buying is likely to be a fake, or you are deceived into thinking you're buying the genuine article. While 3 in 10 of us have knowingly bought fake products, there's also a significant number, 1 in 6, who say they've unintentionally bought a counterfeit product. This is most likely for toys, clothing and footwear, and sports and electricals, according to a 2023 survey from the Intellectual Property Office. Buying counterfeits isn't illegal, but those making them break intellectual property or trademark laws, which can be civil or criminal matters. So, how are we, the consumer, being protected? Global brands have large enforcement teams to fight back. Apple has teams that work in more than 100 countries and monitor over 150 online marketplaces, for example. But this isn't enough. Proper enforcement is key, and counterfeiters are quick to exploit gaps. In the UK, Trading Standards is supposed to enforce laws, including those around counterfeit goods which protect consumers. But data obtained by Which under the Freedom of Information Act shows that intellectual property and counterfeit work was one of the most commonly deprioritised areas by Trading Standards in Great Britain over the past 5 years. Counterfeiting requires a joined-up approach from Trading Standards and police, but the system is too fragmented. Now we are calling for an overhaul of the consumer enforcement system, with more scrutiny of its effectiveness, better intelligence sharing, and more oversight. So, how can you avoid buying dangerous counterfeit products? Start by picking a reputable retailer. Buy from the brand directly or an established store with a well-known name. Avoid third-party sellers on online marketplaces, particularly those selling supposedly new, unopened branded products at a lower price than you'd expect. Next, look at the price. It's good to shop around and compare prices, but steer clear of any price that appears too good to be true, as it probably is. Examine the pictures. Counterfeit sellers often use official photos from the brand. If the pictures on a listing only look like ones from a catalogue or from the brand's website, then tread carefully. Pay attention to the wording. Ironically, phrases like genuine article or original should ring alarm bells when shopping online. Any listings that emphasise how real a product is are probably protesting too much. Steer clear or do more digging. And finally, do some quick quality checks. On the physical product, look for poor quality manufacturing, cheap, dented or torn packaging and typos or misapplied logos. You can also run the serial number through the brand website to check if it's legit. Report any fake to Trading Standards. We approached the brands and online marketplaces involved in our investigation. Amazon, eBay, Temu and Vinted all said counterfeit products were strictly prohibited on their platforms, that they take this issue seriously, and have proactive measures to prevent such listings. Disney said, "We take reports of suspected infringements very seriously. We encourage consumers to always buy authentic products from trusted retailers." Dyson said, "Although counterfeit products can look almost identical to the genuine article, they are manufactured in inferior environments that compromise on quality and safety."
That brings to an end another podcast from Which. There's loads more for you to read about everything we discussed today. Just head to the episode description for more useful everyday advice. There you'll also find an exclusive offer for podcast listeners like you to become a Which member for 50% off the usual price, giving you access to our product reviews, our app, one-to-one personalised buying advice and every issue of Which magazine across the year. Plus, your membership helps us to make life simpler, fairer and safer for everyone. If you'd like to know when we release a new episode, then make sure you press subscribe wherever you're listening. That way you can be one of the first to listen. And for any questions, comments or anything in between, follow us on social media @WhitchUK or email us podcasts@which.co.uk. Goodbye.
If you're enjoying this podcast from us here at Which, then why not become a Which member? Right now, we've got a special offer, especially for podcast listeners, meaning you can choose any of our 3 membership tiers for 50% off the usual price. Starting at just £39.50 for a full year, you can get Which magazine delivered direct to your door. For the same price, you could also choose a digital Which subscription, giving you access to all of our product reviews, the Which app, and the digital edition of Which magazine. What's more, you'll also be able to use the Ask Which service for personalised one-to-one buying advice. Or why not get a full access Which subscription for just £49.50 for a full year? Don't forget, that's 50% off the usual price. To join Which or to find out more, just head to which.co.uk/podcast offer. That's which.co.uk/podcast offer. Or click the link in the description for today's podcast for 50% off a Which annual subscription.